So I'm excited to be here. I believe that this is the biggest, the best, the greatest governor's conference that I've ever been to. It's my first. So I can guarantee that that's true. But, I was just thinking when we were talking to some people outside, and I think about half the people, because of turnover in local government, it's their first. So I was thinking, if I hadn't told you, you would have believed it. But I know, talking with my team, they're excited about it. And so you'll have to be the judge if this is the biggest, the best, the most exciting ever. But we believe it's going to be. We've got so many exciting new initiatives. Actually, my team and I, we were talking about it just last week, and it kind of reminds us of Christmas. I know you guys have probably all had this experience where you've got just that great present, and you can't wait for that family member, your wife or your son or your daughter, to come down that morning and open the present, and you just know they're going to love it, and how that feeling is of excitement and anticipation for them to be able to receive that. That's kind of how we feel today. We've got some exciting new initiatives to share with you today. So we're going to do a lot of informational stuff as we normally do, but we've also got some exciting new initiatives that we're going to be able to introduce. So I'm looking forward to that. Before we go any further, I want to make sure I say some thank yous. And the first thank you is to our legislators. I saw Pat Marsh, and hopefully there's a few others here in the room this morning, but we're not able to do our job without their support. It's at their grace that we're able to do anything that we do. So we appreciate all their support and the budget that they give us to do every year. And if you'd like to help us out, if you think that we're doing a good job, please tell your legislators that we are and encourage them to continue to support us. And also, I just want to thank all of you guys. I know everybody here has cities to run, industrial development boards to run, lots of other organizations to run, TVA to run, I see. So there's people from all across our state that made a sacrifice to come here for 2 days. So know our team takes that on as a burden, an area, a sense of responsibility to make sure that we're delivering really great content to you. And our team has worked really hard to set up these next 2 days to make sure that it's of great value to you. So my job today, unfortunately for me, is I don't get to announce any of the new initiatives. Amy, you, and some of the others will get to do all that. My job will be to share our new mission, our new vision, share the long-term objectives that we're working on, and then also share the 6 strategies that we're going to use to achieve those, and a few details on some of them. We won't be too metrics driven. It'll be more about the general initiative, so we won't bore you with too many numbers today, but know there are numbers behind all that. But before we talk about any of that, I want to touch on the theme. And as Clint mentioned, our theme is Team Tennessee. So I want to share why I think that's important. So I believe this is irrefutable, that today is the greatest moment in the history of Tennessee. Not this moment in the conference, but this time in Tennessee across the state. It is the greatest moment in the history of Tennessee. Now look around the room. It's a little dark, so I can't really see, but I can guarantee there are people out there that are looking a little incredulous. They're thinking, well, that's kind of an exaggeration. Probably if you were calling BS. Because if you're thinking, don't you read the papers? I mean, it's all about negativity, all about the bad things that are happening across our state. Surely this can't be the best time. So here's some facts for you to consider. So first off, there's more Tennesseans today than there ever was. There are more Tennesseans working than in the history of our state. When you look at education, we have the highest educational attainment than we ever have in our state's history. Every point of reference, from students that graduate from 9th grade, believe it or not, but 50 years ago, that was a big deal. More students graduate from 9th grade than ever before. And at the top end, more people have some type of post-secondary certificate or degree than in the history of our state. So we have the most educated population than we ever have in the history of our state. That's got to be a good thing. You would expect, if you have the most educated population, that you would also have good economic results, and we do. Our state, today, we have the highest per capita personal income in our state's history. We are making more money than in any time in our state's history. And you would expect as a result of that the entire economy would be doing good. In fact, our GDP for our state is at its highest ever. We set a record for GDP last year. So every point of reference, we're doing great. So I would suggest to you that this is the greatest time in the state of Tennessee. But if it was just a point in time, it wouldn't be so significant. But the most important part is our momentum, the trend lines. And the trend lines are off the charts. We are doing so well in so many areas. Just a couple to mention. One is education. In almost every data point, we're doing setting national records on improvement. One of which I'll just mention to you is FAFSA filing rates. So the FAFSA, the form that students fill out to go to college, they fill it out in before March of each spring. And it's the best indicator of the number of students that are going to go to college in the coming year. Well, this past year, we had an 18% jump in the FAFSA filing rate. Unheard of. The best other state, thank you for everybody that worked on that. The best other state, our competitor, the best other state was Delaware with a 3% increase. We had an 18% increase. And in fact, they looked at the entire number of additional FAFSA filings across the United States and the total number of them. 40% of the entire increase in the entire United States came from the state of Tennessee. That's incredible. So that's something to celebrate. And at the same time, on the economic development side, just a number that I know that we can share, we've got the best pipeline that we've ever had. In January, when the start of this year, the pipeline is all these prospects that have the potential to move into the state that we're working with. About 75% of the people that are in our pipeline, we usually close on. Well, at the start of the year, 25,000 potential jobs were in our pipeline. As of today, I can report that we have 44,000 jobs in our pipeline, a new record for jobs in our pipeline. So I just point to those two things to say that we have a lot of great momentum. I truly believe that we're about to go from good to great. We are on the cusp of greatness. The only way, though, that we can achieve our dream, achieve that greatness, is together, to work as a team. No one person, our governor, anyone within the state government, anybody in the business world, no one individual, no one group can do this by themselves. The only way we can be successful as a team. It's everybody in the state government, myself and our fellow commissioners working together as a team, and we do. But it's certainly not state government that's going to be leading this. It's all of our state government folks working with all of our local stakeholders. It's all of us in the business community working with everybody in education to make sure that we're perfectly aligned. But again, I believe that we are on the cusp of greatness. This is our time. And if we work together as Tennesseans, I believe that we can achieve these goals. So we are Team Tennessee. So with that, I'd like to talk about another big team in Tennessee. One of my favorite things to do in this new job, everybody always asks me, well, how do you like your new job? I can tell you I love it for many reasons. Most importantly, because of the impact we get to make across our state. But as a business person, as a student of business, I love case studies. What I do is, it's kind of odd, I'll confess, but so when I go to the beach and I read a book, I'm usually reading case studies about businesses. I just love stories of business. You know, the challenges and the opportunities. Sometimes they fail, sometimes they succeed, but it's interesting. And in this job, I get to lead or live case studies every day. We were keeping track for a while, and I was up to like 200 different businesses that I've been to this year, and kind of became a little bit of an annoyance for my staff, so we decided I wouldn't make them keeping score. But I can tell you, it's over hundreds, and I thought what I'd do is share with you just a few of the stories, because this is the story of Tennessee. This is a key part of Team Tennessee. So in the first month I was on the job, I went up to Northeast Tennessee and met Pal Burger. Anybody from Northeast Tennessee has eaten a Pal's Burger? Awesome. This was my first time ever going there. In addition to the food being great, these guys are just an incredible business success story. So everybody's heard of the Malcolm Baldrige Award. That's something that usually huge multi-billion-dollar automobile companies get for quality and service. Well, Pal's is the first restaurant to ever get the award. Think, how does a restaurant get the Malcolm Baldrige Award? So I went up there to find out. And I remember reading this one stat that said that they could turn an order when you go through the drive-thru in 18 seconds. I thought, wow, that's pretty impressive. I think the closest to that was like 47 seconds. So they were orders of magnitude better than anybody else in the industry. I thought, well, this will be interesting to see how they do that. Anyways, I saw it. They lived up to the expectations. They delivered great food and really quick service. But I made a mistake. I got to meet Pal. I walked up to him and I said, hey, Pal, you're living up to all the expectations. This is such a great place, and I'm amazed that you're able to turn an order in 19 seconds. And he looked at me really cross and said, no, 18 seconds. It's not 19 seconds, it's 18 seconds. So that makes the point. I mean, he is so focused on the metric, and no talk, even a second was not acceptable. Other cool thing about, and this, I think, here's the secret to his success, or at least one of his secrets to success. So he reaches in his pocket and pulls out a key. And he says, you know what this is? I said, well, it's a key. Yes, but this is the only key that I own. This key opens my car. It opens my house. It opens all 27 of my stores. And I have a condo in New York. He's obviously selling a lot of burgers. He's doing well. It also opens the condo in New York. And I said the really stupid thing. I said, so how did you make that? And he said, I didn't make it. locksmith made it. So, okay. But it was also a character. But I guess the point being, he went to these extremes to simplify his life. So I think the message that he was sharing is simplicity. If you want to have great success, focus on simplicity. A great Tennessee story. Another one that I thought was really cool, and moving down going all across the state, there's entrepreneurs everywhere. It's an exciting time to be an entrepreneur in the state of Tennessee, and there's so many fascinating entrepreneurial stories. I could have picked one of 100, but I picked this one because I thought it was really interesting. This is a company called Feats in Chattanooga, and what Feats does, they make customized shoes. It's an app, and you're welcome if you want to go online now and download the app. It's Feetz. But with Feats, you can actually take a picture of each of your feet. Turns out that no 2 feet match. So even, of course, we know the left and right are opposites of each other, but there's all sorts of other variables about your feet. So you take a picture of each foot, and then download it to the app, and then they will 3D print a shoe for you for each foot and ship it to you the next day. So customized shoes, 3D printed and overnighted to your house in a day. Made here in Tennessee, in Chattanooga. Just a really cool story. And again, there's so many exciting entrepreneurial stories across our state. I got to go to Jackson Kayak in White County. So if you don't know, Jackson Kayak, I didn't know this, Jackson Kayak is the nation's leader in whitewater kayaks. In fact, 60% of all kayaks in North America are made by Jackson Kayak. So that would be cool in and of itself, the fact that Tennessee has a world leader in any category, in particular, so whitewater kayaking. It's a cool sport. What's really cool, though, about this story that I thought that meant a lot to me is that they're in White County. We have 21 distressed counties in our state, counties that are struggling, and yet Jackson Kayak has proven that you can be a world leader in a category from anywhere in our state. They're making this happen in White County. So it's a great inspiration, I think, to all of us. One of the cool things about the job, too, is going to visit these factories that make food. So this, I've shared this too many times, so I guess I'm just going to have to live with it, that this was my favorite tour. This is the Unilever factory in West Tennessee, and it's rude, I'm convinced, or I was told, it's rude not to try the ice cream. And so in an hour tour, the manager, Larry Gibson, keeps saying, oh, this is fresh ice cream. You've got to try this. It's just right off the factory line. So, okay. So I think we ate 6 ice creams. So I know we ate 6 ice creams in less than an hour. They were all really good, but we didn't really want lunch afterwards. But the cool thing that I remember about, and they also, by the way, in case you don't know, they are the largest ice cream manufacturer in North America. We make more ice cream in the state of Tennessee in this factory than any other factory anywhere in North America. Another great Tennessee success story. But the thing that was interesting about this visit was meeting Larry Gibson for the second time, maybe the third time. So back in 2013, I was a special advisor for higher education, and I went around the state talking to people about workforce development. Larry made many of the meetings, too many of the meetings for my, it was actually good, but he was always the irritant, the one that complained. In every meeting, you could just cue Larry, and he would throw up his hands and say, workforce in Tennessee is terrible. We cannot get the workers we need. I wish we had never opened a factory here. Nobody's trained. They don't show up for work on time. It's just, I wish we hadn't set up shop in Tennessee. So when we visited with him, knowing that I was going to see him, I thought, let's get this out of the way first. Let's just go ahead and clear the air because I don't want that hanging over us for the entire tour. So Larry, how's workforce development? He says, it's great. You wouldn't believe the turnaround in the last 2 years that we have made, working with our TCAT, working with all the other partners in education in our community. Now we have got a great workforce. We have low turnover. They're delivering what we need. And he was excited about the workforce, and he's now an advocate for Tennessee and Tennessee workforce. So a tremendous success story, in addition to be a great ice cream tour. Finish with this one last one, because this was just 3 weeks ago. And again, every day, I could do this the entire morning, but every day there's an inspirational story. This was another one that I found really inspirational. So I was in Union City. I have family near there, so I was very excited to be going to Union City to make a job announcement. There's a company called Institutional Casework, located actually in Paris, Tennessee. 20 years ago, this factory, Institutional Casework, was making furniture for laboratories for universities and schools. And a tornado hit and wiped out the factory. Now, at that time, they were owned by a company, I think they were located in New York. They were owned by a company someplace else. And the guys at the big factory somewhere else, or the headquarters somewhere else, saw this and thought, well, the factory's wiped out. It was kind of marginal in the first place. It's just not worth us reinvesting. We're going to close the factory. But the townspeople and the management got together and said, we're not going to let this happen. So the townspeople raised the money. The management committed themselves to rebuilding this company, and they've turned it around. Today they've got 120 people working in Paris, Tennessee, and now they're opening a new factory in Union City, Tennessee. It's going to have 200 new people. A Phoenix from the ashes kind of story, and those happen across our state, but it's such an inspirational story. So again, when we think of Team Tennessee, we have team members all across our state doing great things in business and supporting all the things that we do.